Morning, folks. Phil Gallagher here with your daily D&T. Today's week of daily this week of daily D&T is brought to you in part by Pepperjack, who supported this channel. And we're looking at a pretty stock D&T deck list. We're playing two things that are a little bit unusual just to give them a try. This week we're going to try out an Eldrazi Displacer in the main deck. It's pretty good against Tarmogoyfs as well as Merit Lodges. And we're also going to try a Mangara in the sideboard. Just essentially for funsies. It's been a while since I've played a Mangara. Otherwise, all the stuff that's stock here, you can still have the 2 versus 3 Caracas conversation, but I think enough people are still messing around with Once Upon a Time depths that the third is correct. Although I think in another week or two it'll probably trend back to where you only want to be playing 2 Caracas. Legacy League with Displacer taxes. Let's go. So, in case you're not overly familiar with what you're trying to do with Eldrazi Displacer, it's essentially an engine in and of itself, where you can use it to reset Flickerwisp, Recruiter of the Guards, Revokers, Jailers, Stoneforge, Charming Prince. It essentially just gives all of your ETB creatures a little bit more extra added value. We have a medium power level hand that we'll be keeping. We'll be hoping to play against a fair deck, and we'll also be hoping that we hit a third land. If this is Red Prison or Burn, we have an acceptable power level hand against either. Leaning towards hoping that it's Burn, in all honesty. That's what we didn't want to see. So here's what's happening. We're going to wasteland them under their own Trinisphere and hope that we can outdraw them in terms of top decking lands. But I just cannot afford for them to stick a 3 or 4 drop this turn. That's how you get them. It's not like we're doing a lot either, though. The little giver of runes that could. Fun and interactive magic for everyone. I do need to start thinking about what I'm going to discard. This is probably not going to be a Recruiter of the Guard game. Oh, that is bad. When it was just a Legion War Boss, we could soak up the damage from a Goblin every turn. But two bonus Goblins plus them growing each turn does not bode well for me. I believe that I'm just going to die to these Legion War Bosses now. So I think even if I play Stoneforge Mystic next turn, I think the ship has just sailed. So I'm at 4. Yeah, so I can play a Stoneforge, get a Batter Skull, block here, just die to all this stuff. Alternatively, I can Swords to Plowshares, and yep, alright. That didn't particularly work well. So, normally versus Red Prison, I'm bringing in Council Judgment, Cataclysm, and Recruiter. Instead of a recruiter here, we have a Mangara, which is fine. So I was subbing out my givers. They're not particularly great. I was trimming a Swords to Plowshares, and then my 2 Mirroring Crusaders. I don't have a second Giver, Swords to Plowshares, Mirroring Crusader. Second Council Judgment. That's why things are looking off. So there's 5. There's 5. Oh, I had 3 Council's Judgment in the other build that I was playing. Okay, so then this is good enough. I would like to play first. We have a medium power level hand again, but we have one that stops Chandra, and that potentially can be like very, very rough in terms of mana denial, because we can revoke a Chrome Mox if my opponent is very reliant on that. Yeah, so that's totally fine. We'll revoke the Chrome Box and set my opponent back on mana. I think. I'm gonna think about Charming Prince for a minute. I think I'm just gonna play the Revoker. Mid game, we'll probably flip this over to Chandra. This is great for now. Yeah, we're getting the temporary 2-for-1 by shutting off this Chrome Mox. And my opponent has taken themselves off of mana. That's actually interesting. I'm going to take that hit. So we're going to live in this kind of interesting world where I'm probably going to try to set up a double Wasteland scenario on my opponent. That involves killing my own Phyrexian Revoker. We're probably about 3 turns away from that happening. I can take varying degrees of aggression here. I think I'm going to start by equipping Revoker and attacking in and seeing what happens there. There was definitely a world there where my opponent blocked, and I wanted to see if we were living in that timeline. So I could choose right now to just kill the Magus of the Moon and then double Wasteland my opponent, which I really quite like. This leaves my opponent on 1 mana, and my board is going to beat their board long term very easily. Actually super happy to see that block. It might mean that they have a critical 4-drop. I'm just going to take the life here. And I think I'm not going to use my Jitte yet. Well, now I'll use the Jitte. This is inconvenient. I'm most scared if my opponent has something like a walking ballista in the board that they can wish for and just, like, threaten to mow down whatever creatures I get. This Karn is threatening a Mycosynth Lattice Swim pretty quickly. Yeah, pretty much obligated to just take that one. Nice. That is very good for me. So I can Charming Prince, attack in. My opponent will probably double block, but could just chump. I'm okay with either scenario. Oh. Nope, they're just going to let me hit that. Yes. I'll take the Batter Skull. Now we'll get kind of cute here. We'll Charming Prince. We'll exile our Charming Prince. Essentially just untap it. And I think I'm just going to exile my other Charming Prince here and plan on scrying 2 at the end of turn. Getting a Sword of Fire and Ice, it doesn't really accomplish anything. What do you have for me, friend? How bad is it? So it's not as just as easy as like Mycosynth Lattice here, I guess, because my opponent probably doesn't have like the Spirit Guide. Otherwise, that probably just would have been a snap decision. So they might be wondering, like, do I need to get a bridge here? Is bridge going to be good enough? Yeah, they are going the bridge route. Okay. You have a bridge. I definitely don't want the planes. I think I do want the Thalia. It kind of feels like my opponent is holding up an Abrade or something like that, and the Thalia could potentially be good. It also just makes it more likely that my opponent needs to tap that Ancient Tomb in the future. This doesn't, like, super contribute towards me actually winning the game, though. I'm going to go ahead and bottom this. That's actually a little better than it looks. So we can cast that, remove a goblin. We go to combat. And I think we actually choose to attack everything at Karn and try to guarantee damage on Karn. The Batter Skull being in play doesn't actually do a lot here. So now we're hoping my opponent does not have a creature. Because if they don't have a creature, well, there's a lot of things that can happen this turn. Inconvenient timing there. The Stoneforge can attack, but not profitably, so we'll just hold back the Batter Skull and plan on putting it in. And just set up so that we can potentially have lethal on my opponent if we get to blink out or otherwise remove the bridge. That's rough. I'm still wondering if my opponent has an Abrade or if they just made a mistake in tapping their Ancient Term that one turn, like 3 turns ago. Tomek not really doing a lot here. We're going to play it out because we're attempting to go wide of this board. Well, my opponent should just have me here. They just need to go Chandra plus for mana, Karn minus for Lattice. And then I probably can't beat them. Nope. Maybe they don't have Lattice, or they don't know that line. They don't know the line. So I'll play this. And maybe for some reason my opponent doesn't cast the Mycosynth Lattice. Where was that last turn? All right. That's sort of unfortunate there. We lost a good matchup there to start off this league. I'll be back tomorrow.